Good evening, Broncos country. Welcome to another edition of Bourbon Broncos No BS. This is special tonight because this is a full hour-long episode as we go through all the last-minute breakdowns of the Broncos news and rumors, everything surrounding the draft. And to take all your questions, take all your comments, hear what you guys have to say. So make sure you type all that stuff in the comment box now, and we will start taking those momentarily. First off, I got to introduce the fantastic co-hosts that are here with me very frequently, Adam and Scott, the flagman. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm here. Yeah. Hey, what's up, kid?
Yeah.
How are you, man?
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Scott, what's up with you, buddy?
You know what? Just busy, man. And it's fantastic to be back at it talking about some football.
Yes, sir.
This is it's a nice, kind of break from the drought. We've been inundated with all the clickbait, all the false rumors, and all that crap, and now we can actually see some things play out in front of us over the next couple days. Now, I think it's important to talk about my favorite tradition, if you will, when it comes to the draft, and that is the annual booing of the commissioner. And I don't know about you guys, but nothing gets me going but hearing all the fans boo Roger Goodell as he walks out onto that stage.
I mean, it is humorous, but why do you think he gets universally booed? Is it just?
I think it's just a thing. I think it's just a football thing.
Okay.
Why do they sing the national anthem before every game? And
exactly.
It's tradition. It's the thing to do. It is the right thing to do.
Okay.
I love it, guys.
As long as it's not peer pressure. If it's not peer pressure and it's just my turn to do it, then that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
It's fine. I like it. Well, let's get into the conversation, guys. And once again, for everybody tuning in, post your comments, post your questions, hit that share button for us. Helps out a ton. And we want to talk with you, not at you. So let us know what you're thinking as we get ready for this draft. Now, guys, obviously, and the hat's over there, there's a lot of rumors coming up today and yesterday about the Broncos making some calls to try to move up in the draft. Now, I have feelings about this, but I want to hear from you guys first. Scott, we'll go over to you, buddy. The idea of the Broncos trading away draft capital to move up in the draft to get probably none other than Ashton Jeanty. What are your thoughts on that? How are you feeling? Would you even consider doing something like that?
If it's somebody like Ashton Jeanty, maybe. But I heard, was it Rappaport is saying they're looking to move up to get a receiver. And I maybe it's the stale taste of Jerry Jeudy in my mouth. I'm not a big fan of first-round wide receivers. I mean, not early anyway.
Right.
I mean, a
little too much deep.
DT was a first-round receiver. I understand that.
The rare breed, though.
There's so many receivers in the draft that you can get rounds 2 through 4 or 5 that turn into really good pros, because so much about these receivers in college, they're still learning their craft. And it's like anything, you can have all the potential in the world, but if you don't have the drive to take it to that next level, it doesn't matter. And, if you got talent and then you couple that with drive and perseverance and just having some good knowledge and being smart, the sky's the limit.
Right.
So if it's trading up for somebody like Ashton Jeanty, if he really, I've heard so many good things. I don't know. I guess I mixed. He's not super big. He's 5'8". I don't know. I don't know that he is the guy, but boy, I don't know that he's not either.
Sure. Well, and Adam, before we hand it over to you, this is confirmed. It's on Yahoo Sports and stuff. Apparently, Ashton Jeanty did send a letter out to all the teams ahead of this week's draft saying, quote, "It's tackle football. You know what I'm saying? I'd draft the guy they can't tackle." So pretty big words there for a guy that's never played a snap in the NFL. I mean, imagine some of these NFL guys coming at you. It's not college anymore.
Right.
But what do you think of that? And same idea of trading up, man. Like, what do you think?
I mean, if you're Genty, I mean that's a total baller move, and I do like that. I do like that kind of bravado and that kind of as much as it gets overused, swag again. I guess I like that. You know what? Yeah. I've heard from Albert Breer. I've heard from Adam Schefter. I've heard from Ian Rappaport. We've heard all the big guns saying the Denver's making some moves. That just seems like it's just a little too on the nose for me.
Right.
Yeah. So I think maybe they are trying to test the waters and maybe see what the cost is going to be to move up. I don't know for who. If it's going to be for a running back, again, if the brain trust thinks that Genty is special, then yeah, you move heaven and earth to get him. I just don't know that any evaluator, anybody, a serious draft prognosticator has said that Ashton Genty is a special prospect. Is he a very good prospect? Yes. Do you need to move that much capital to get a really good guy when you can get a pretty good guy even at our pick or even later on in the second or in the third? I don't know. I think Denver is probably testing, seeing what's out there and kicking the tires on things. I don't know that it's for a running back. I think that's just too on the nose, and I think that's the thing that they're trying to muddy the waters with a little bit. That would be where I would lean anyway.
Right. I think those are all very good points there. Scott, you're talking about the rumors that kind of shifted from us trading up for Genty to maybe for a wide receiver. Name I'm seeing from Ian Rappaport is possibly trade up for the Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden, who, to be honest, I don't know a ton about. But the interesting thing with that is, Adam, you and I were talking last week about this. With the re-signing of Courtland Sutton, which hasn't been finalized yet, but it sounds like it's going in the right direction. We know Court wants to stay with the team, wants to stay in Denver. He's taken team-friendly deals in the past. Does it make sense for the Broncos to go for another first-round wide receiver? So trade rumors abound, guys, and we'll get back to this in a little bit, I'm sure, but I'm bringing up James' comment here. I would not trade up, and I think this is the overall sentiment from Broncos country, but would be willing to trade back. So, Scott, over to you again. What would you be willing to what's your cutoff for willing to trade back? What do you want in return, man?
Well, I think you definitely want at least, it depends on if you're trading back in the first round or you're trading out of the first round. Okay. I think, you want some second or third round draft picks, maybe something next year. There is so many. This is a really deep draft, and it's deep in the areas that we're kind of looking for. Running back is deep, tight ends are deep. There's a couple linebackers out there. In fact, I think that's what the Sporting News has had out there, that we're going to take the guy out of Georgia, I think is where he is. But moving back, I've never been a huge fan of moving back, but that's just because I get so excited about the draft. And I just want to see, man, I start just pitching and I just can't wait to see when and what we're going to get and start planning on how that person's going to fit into our team. But we've also we've drafted, we've moved up and gotten some real stinkers. Think of the big tall guy that couldn't cried every time he got hit.
Oh my goodness. Hey, but he did the thingy, the dance thingy. I can't do the dance thingy, but he did it. And he was really good at it. And you need to give him his flowers for that.
Well, I guess,
his accolades.
I think on his Madden, he was all pro and
Bravo.
Super Bowl
Yes.
MVP. I am sure of that. But
absolutely.
I think if we're going to move back, we need to get at least another, one to probably two more draft picks, and because we could pick up some people then. This team has really repaired some of their holes, but they got some holes, and I like what they've done in the offseason. So with that being said, I don't think we're as desperate for the tight end that we were. When we did the last podcast, we were talking about that tight end. Oh my God, we need to get a tight end. But I think they targeted that. They targeted that inside linebacker that we've needed forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, let's get a running back, whether it be Hampton, Genty, and it's funny. I don't know. I like 𝐏𝐫𝐞. I don't know why.
Okay.
I just kind of like his.
Well, you got the name that kind of rolls off the tongue. Yeah,
he has a very cool name.
There goes 𝐏𝐶𝐵𝐞.
He does have a very cool name.
It's one of these guys that just maybe he's not the most talented guy, but he seems like he's got a little something in his belly. So,
sure.
I guess we need somebody with a little bit of maybe not the most talented, but
right. Well, here's a good comment from Michael here. I don't even know why we should bother. According to Butt Monkey FS1 contributor Nick Wright, we have the worst QB in the AFC West, and we're going to finish last. I'm surprised Nick Wright even gave us 7 wins in his prediction. I figured he'd give us a -1 or something like that, because that dude is
really.
I could say some things. I think he's had a lot of intimate time with Patrick Mahomes, but just gonna say that out.
Yeah.
Please, sir. Anyway, but Adam, what do you think, bud?
Mike, you need to you really need to not hold stuff in, man. You need to let that out. All right, you can't.
That's what we're here for.
It's not good for the soul, my man. It's not good.
Love it, buddy. Love it.
I forget where I was going with that. I was probably going somewhere with the draft. I do think Denver's going to go running back. It seems like most of the consensus, and I'm with that too, is not moving collateral for that. I think what I see as far as, because draft grades do have weights and values, so depending on how far you want to move up is kind of what the asking price is. But to move up, as a general idea, it's going to be about a second and a fifth is going to be the starting price, and obviously swapping of your spot in the first round. So to move up or down is probably going to be 2 picks, one of them being the second or fifth, second or fourth, something along those lines. So
yeah.
One more thing. Nick Wrong has a hard time picking his nose. You think he can actually pick where the finish out?
That's a solid point. Solid and out. That's a solid.
I will say, I loved the Chiefs Super Bowl celebration party they threw for him the day after this last Super Bowl, just to rub it in his face. And they went, whatever money they had already allocated to this, they just went ahead and spent it anyway, and made sure it was even more fun in that regard. Anyway, Mr. Spotty will be here on Thursday night here when we're doing our live draft party show, which again, we'll be giving away some of these free or these awesome Broncos draft caps. Nice. So make sure you're tuning in on Thursday. We're going live as soon as it starts at 6 p.m. We'll tell you how we're giving away about 3 of these, maybe 4. But tune in and we'll give you all the instructions and whatnot. But this is the place that you're going to want to be on Thursday night. Spotty says, think we should stay put. A good prospect will fall to us, especially if there's a run in QBs, which there might be. We're talking about maybe some of these QBs sliding, like Shedeur Sanders. Maybe there's a run on them. You never know how these things are going to go and where the momentum of the draft is going to take some of these teams. But I agree. Like the Broncos are in a position where, yes, they have needs, but they're far back enough in the draft where it's like, let's let everybody else panic. Let's let everybody else freak out. Call on the phone, jump around, and then when the board gets to us, see what's there, see who's available. If it doesn't make sense to draft someone in the first round based off of who's left, then trade down. But the idea there probably should be, let's get the best available person here, knowing that's going to be a while till we pick again. But I like it.
I still think if they're moving up for somebody, they're not moving up for a running back. I think if they're moving up for somebody, they're moving up for a guy that everybody has talked so glowingly about. If Tyler Warren is there after the Raiders pick, I think you will see Denver hit the phones hard, because I think Sean Payton is enamored with everything Tyler Warren can do. If there is a true joker in the draft right now, that's your joker right there. Now, what is the price tag going to be for that? And I think
that's the key.
That's the thing. And if it's a team like the Raiders or a team that has a ton of holes that they need to fill, the asking price may be too rich for our blood.
Yep.
So.
And we're finally in this position.
It's totally different than 15.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're finally in this position, and part of the draft, like you were saying, Scott, was it's so fun to just sit there and watch to see who the future of the Broncos is going to be, right? And see the big announcement, see them put the Broncos hat on, and kind of feel a little bit of football joy in the middle of off season. But we don't have to do anything drastic here. This isn't the draft of 3, 4, 5 years ago, where when you talk about a hole on the Broncos or a need on the Broncos, you could list off every single position group and probably be correct. This is a team that is starting to find their identity. They have their QB, they have their head coach, they have their GM, they have their ownership group. They have some veteran presence on the team, and the young guys were stepping up last year. So how can we foster, that to move to the next level? That might involve trading back. That might involve taking a defensive tackle. And I wanted to kind of read this quote here, bring this up from the Gazette I saw today that I thought was kind of spot on, talking about Sean Payton and his tendencies. So from Dave Syverston, senior draft analyst at Our Lads, he says, a Sean Payton staple that gets overlooked often is he wants a deep, physical, big, angry defensive line. This is a great year to approach the draft looking for a defensive lineman. It's one of the deepest classes that we've had. So if you're sitting there at 20, wide receivers, not really any round one talent left there. Running back, same. Tight ends, same. Cornerback, same. Maybe you're looking at this going, hey, somebody like Walter Nolan from Ole Miss is a guy that we want to go. And you're talking about making our defense even scarier.
Yeah.
How is that? That's kind of hard to pass up for a Sean Payton system. You know what I mean?
I had running back, tight end, and then nose tackle. I mean, that defensive tackle, somebody in the middle that's just going to take up space, but is also going to push the pocket right up Mahomes, him and Nick Wright know.
Him and they know.
It's what I'm hoping. But those are the three positions I think I targeted. I mean, I think there's some good cornerbacks later on. I've heard a lot about Kobe Bryant out of Kansas, and we've done very well with Kansas cornerbacks, and that's somebody we might be able to get a little later in the draft.
I like it. Adam, what do you think?
It's funny that you bring up Walter Nolan. I was thinking about doing a draft profile on him on my TikTok account. He's a little volatile as far as he may be a big swing and miss type of prospect. But I mean, when you consider what Peyton wants and what the current state of the defensive line is right now, you're set on both sides with Franklin Myers and with Allen, but Franklin Myers really, I mean, he's been kind of vocal that he would like to be taken care of at some point, and he's been adamant about that. Allen is to a lesser extent put his contract demands out in the public sphere. So there is a little uncertainty after this season. I think having a guy that you can put into reserve, like the kid from Ole Miss. And now especially with defensive linemen who can take a little longer to develop. So now you have him essentially on a redshirt year. You get a stud defensive tackle, either one you move up or one that you stay at 20 and take. And now he can sit for a year, get himself acclimated. If you don't bring back Franklin Myers, or maybe if something gets messy with the Allen situation, knock on wood, nothing happens. But now at least you have some insurance, some long-term insurance with a draft pick where you have a 5th-year option, and you can price control that for, at least 4 years. So I think if they don't move up, defensive line could be a position that they take that no one's really talking about.
Yeah. It's kind of like what we did with Ellis last year. And I was so excited when we got him. And, the thing is, did he make this huge splash his rookie year? No. But the thing is, he did get a lot of playing time. He got so much experience. It might be a huge jump for him from year 1 to year 2. And that's what you need.
I think so.
And, maybe we get that guy in the middle that is there, can play a little bit. He's learning from some really good veterans. And then next year, you plug him in, and he's the young veteran.
Right. Yeah, young veteran. But that's how young this team is, that just getting 1 or 2 years under your belt kind of makes you one of the senior players on the team.
But they're
that's okay.
Guys. They're Peyton's guys. And this is what was missing the first year. It was he didn't have his he didn't have his guys. And Peyton's a guy that he's a coach that you either love to play for him or you just play for him. And you don't play for him very long if you just play for him, because he'll get you out of there. He doesn't want people that aren't bought in. And we saw that last year. We saw a different mentality, a different toughness, a different mindset going into these games. And just think, we're going in 1 more year with a quarterback now, finally. A quarterback. We're not saying, hey, maybe we'll find somebody on out there as a free agent that after
bring Dak
his dark days and smoking whatever he's smoking, maybe he'll come to us. We got a guy now, and this is a high quality, smart quarterback, and he's got that fire in his belly, which that's going to burn right down all the way through that offensive unit. I think we're going to see a huge improvement with the offense this year. Not that it was terrible last year.
No, but it was improving throughout the entire year.
Yes.
Which was the crazy thing. You never saw them plateau. The only thing you really saw plateau was Bo's running ability. And the reason for that was because he had a broken back, right? Like, that's a very good excuse. Let's not rush you and, put you at risk of getting clobbered by a linebacker or something. Let's keep you safe for the rest of the season. And he still played as well as he did. Look back at some of the passes he made with multiple fractures in his back. Okay. And tell me that this guy doesn't have it, and he doesn't have the spirit, the willpower, the toughness. So I agree. I do expect them to progress. I think I remember hearing Sean Payton saying the goal isn't to start where we left off. The goal is to start ahead of where we left off. Right. So the goal of the offseason, the goal of the offseason was not just, hey, keep steady until we get back to practice. It's get better, and there'll be higher expectations for when we return. And that's the guy that's, forward thinking, driven, focused on the future. And like you're saying, Scott, the players have the buy-in, right? They're focused. They're right there in lockstep with him. And you're not seeing anyone push back against it. It's great to see.
Not
And
for
so,
very long if they do.
Yeah,
Maybe they're playing up in Cleveland.
The only person that can push back is Bo Nix, and that's actually a good thing. I guarantee you. You guys don't see the camera angle. You remember the Bo Nix, Sean Payton, spat on the sideline there. They don't show you the angle of Sean Payton's face when he turns away. I guarantee you he was smiling, saying, I found yes, I know I was right now. That's my quarterback. Because you look back to the Russell Wilson sideline thing and how he just stood there and took it. Day and night difference between these two guys. And Sean Payton, I'm sure, was just grinning ear to ear saying, I got him.
Yep.
Now, here's an interesting thing, guys, I want to talk to you about. Maybe not so much a round one conversation. Gary says the only plot I've seen is Kev Dance mustache. Yeah, it's pretty set to where it is. Let's see, catch up on some of these comments here. Absolutely love Boise State running back. Would you guys sell the farm and move to get him? No, I wouldn't. There's so many running backs in this draft class that if you don't get one till round 3, you're probably still in a very good position, depending on who you pick.
What about your fifth will? Would you get rid of your fifth will to move up? That travel trailer is important, but I might be willing to do that if for some reason he falls back a little bit.
Well, I mean, if he falls, but that's letting the board kind of play out, sift itself out. When you're at a position of letting other people react, and you can kind of see where the lay of the land. I mean, I think that's a more dangerous position to be in than saying that you're loaded for bear and that you're gonna move on the first thing that looks appealing to you. So
I got crazy last year. I was at Mile High for the draft party.
Okay.
It just seemed like, oh my God, it's fallen to us. And Bo Nix is who I thought they were going to get, but that's not, that's not really who I was thinking. And I was like, okay, we can move up to get the guy. We're not moving up. What are we doing? What are we doing? And then he went, and I'm like, what are we doing? And then
you and a lot of other people.
Like, okay, I'm okay with this, but my son was pissed. Pissed. And I go walking off, and I'm pretty happy with the overall pick. And I run into Nick Ferguson, and he says, you don't look happy. And I said, no, I'm happy. I said, but man, my son is pissed. Where is he? And Matthew had gone into this into one of the little places where they were selling stuff. There he is, and I just kind of stood back and said,
"Well, watch."
It was he just chewed him out for 15 minutes, telling him what a moron he was. So I love it. He says, "You tell me why you don't like Bo Nix." And Matthew was like, this, that, because he thought he was what's the redhead kid that came out of BYU a few years ago? Went to
not Wilson. Cleveland? It wasn't Zach Wilson.
No. He was the
redhead kid.
Yeah, he was a redhead kid.
No,
Dalton.
Andy Dalton. Okay.
Maybe it's the guy that ended up going to Dallas, and he had one good year. Maybe
I think that's him.
He had a good year, and they, but he was like, I don't know, 90 when he entered the draft. And that was what my son's issue was: is Bo Nix is old. Well, maybe I don't know.
Which is actually kind of funny, because when you see how old Bo Nix is, he's actually like about the same age as most. He's a little bit older because he did take the
like 2 years. If that. Yeah.
And I'm one of the guys that actually was like, why do we want to take a guy that's like 26 already? So that's my fault. That's my fault too. I will fully contend. I was one of those guys that
would have 100% agreed with it. He's turned it. He has kind of changed his tune a little bit, and
How could you not? How could you not?
My son, since he was 5 years old, he's a smart kid as far as football, and he just. I listened to him, but on this one, I was like, I don't think you're right on this. And I was enjoying as the season progressed, kind of rubbing it in his face. Brandon Whedon, that's the guy.
Yeah,
Whedon.
Spotty's got us. Spotty's got us.
Thank you, Whedon. And that's who he compared him to. And I don't think that Bo Nix is a Whedon at all.
Yeah, a little bit different. I mean, because Brandon Whedon was like 28, I think, when he graduated OSU. Because he went to go play, like, it's a lot like guys that played the baseball, and then they usually picked it up after they flamed out in baseball. Like Joe Klatt was a baseball guy.
Yeah,
right.
Brandon Whedon was a baseball guy. The guy that should have beat out Tom Brady at Michigan, Drew Henson, was a baseball guy.
Yeah,
and actually a very, very high baseball pick and then just never beat out Tom Brady, and the rest is history.
Sure.
Well,
let's bring up
just having that fire in your belly can help you overcome some of your physical shortcomings. And then if you got that, you can build upon it. And that's where I think Bo Nix is going to go.
Well, Gary says that's just pizza in his belly, the heartburn he's feeling. So
that's reflux. Somebody get the man a Tums endorsement now.
Now. We are looking for sponsors, so Tums, if you're watching, reach out to us. Ken says, what did Barkley do before going to a Super Bowl rated team? What did LT win in the Chargers? How much winning is King Henry doing? How many Super Bowl rings do late running backs have in the last few years? We don't need Genty. And this is, Ken, I would agree with you.
100%.
I know he's the big flashy name that people are like, man, if the Broncos could get him, we'd be set for life, blah, 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 blah. And I get that because there's not a lot going on in the offseason, right? We're kind of stuck to whatever random clickbait and other rumors we see. But I agree, there's no reason to panic. If the Broncos don't get Genty, it's not the end of the world.
No.
Whoever they get in the first round, as long as it's with a smart decision, and I'm trusting what they've done based off their record that I had pulled up earlier here. I think Clayton it was Kodiak posted. 4 for 4. George Payton is with Surtain, Benito, Mims, Nix. So, look, I'd say Mims can still have a larger role. Nix, obviously, people were dogging on him for picking Bo Nix, but look how that's turned out. People aren't, making fun of him anymore. That's for sure.
And I think Bonito is a second round pick.
Yes,
you're right about that.
He was second. That's right.
I mean, I feel so comfortable with this scouting and drafting team we have.
Isn't it nice?
I mean, just look at 2018's draft. The three of us could have come up with better names.
Let's see who was.
Oh, let's go to the 20.
Let's see if there's anyone still on the list here. So Bradley Chubb, gone. Okay. Cortland Sutton,
out of the league.
Cortland Sutton is the only. Royce Freeman, gone. Isaac Yiadom, Josie Jewell, Deshaun Hamilton, Troy Fumagalli, Sam Jones, Keyshawn Vieira, David Williams. Cortland Sutton was the only one from
2019. Go to 2019. Maybe that was the year.
Let's see here. Noah Fant, Dalton Reisner, Drew Lock, Draymond Jones, Justin Hollins, Juan Winfrey. Nobody that's on the team anymore.
Nobody. And how many drafts did we have from 2016 on? It was that every year. You draft and you'd be all excited because these guys have this potential, and they play out their first round of contracts, and you were like begging to get rid of them because you were going to replace them with more new draft picks. And that's what really kept us in the funk we've been in for 8 years prior to last season.
Well, I wonder, how much of it was the focus of the team as well. Just we were in this mindset of Super Bowl or bust. Yeah. And the idea that we're only a quarterback away. We're only 1 or 2 players away, and we would get those through free agents that never worked out because they're injury prone or they have bad attitudes. and the head coaching staff that was cycling through. I mean, the Denver Bronco organization was an absolute terrible mess for so long since the passing of Pat Bowlen. And the Pat Bowlen Trust did absolutely no good for the team. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. That was like having a bunch of middle managers run a Fortune 500 company. It's not going to work.
I try to look at the trust in a little bit favorable light, just because they were meant to be middle management for doing the Fortune 500 thing. But it was bad. It was bad.
It was so bad. Like, they didn't even come close to doing a decent job.
And I made the analogy that, like, in those years right after the Super Bowl, it really just felt like Elway was we had a battle axe size wound in our noggin, and we were just like slapping band-aids and slapping crazy glue on it, trying to make it work with the Joel Flacco's and the Case Keenums of the world. So it's just, it to go from that, where like every year is kind of like a mystery box of like, what are you gonna get this year, to basically like, hey, we're gonna draft the best guy possible because we're set here, and we can just kind of let the draft play out as it is. I think is like a really weird position to be in, but a very nice position to be in. I like being in this position right now. So,
yeah. Oh, isn't it nice to just not even be talking about the quarterback, except for that you can't wait to see how much he improves.
I mean, we're not even stressing about the quarterback. If anything, once Shedeur Sanders comes off the board, that's going to be when the draft starts to. That's going to be when New Orleans picks at 9. If they don't take Shedeur Sanders, that's going to be a major shoe to drop. And that's where I think Denver, if Shedeur makes it past 9, that's where you're gonna see. That's where it's gonna get spicy. I think maybe.
Well, look, guys. Before we move on, and I have somebody in our comment section that I am dying to introduce back to. He's here a lot, and I love seeing his comments every time they pop up. But before we get to that, remember, everyone, we are live on draft night from the beginning of the draft at 6 p.m. Mountain Time all the way up through the Broncos' first pick. This might be the year, if the Broncos trade out of the first round, where I'm stuck being live at like 3 a.m. because I always say it's through the Broncos' first pick, not their first round pick. So I might need some help from you guys, help me stay awake at 3 or 4 a.m. when I'm still live. And you guys are like, yeah, peace, we're out. But it's going to be a great night, guys. We're going to break down all the picks as they go along. We're talking about how that impacts the Broncos. Be looking for any Broncos trades, obviously. But then through the night, we're going to be giving away several of these Broncos draft night caps of your choice. You can pick the color scheme. Obviously, if you want this type, this version does have the little pin on it. The other ones don't, but you can get one of the different styles of hat if you want. But make sure you tune in Thursday night at 6 p.m. when we go live as we explain how to win some of these draft caps. They're going to be fantastic. Now, guys, big shout out. I love this guy. I really do. He jabs at us, and we love to jab back. Brad Smith. Good old Brad. Good to see you here, buddy. Imagine wasting picks on wide receivers when you traded away a great one. Oh, dear. In Judy, we should have trust bad attitudes. Who cares? Most NFL players have that crazy move. Brad, I love you, buddy, but love you too, buddy. glad to see you here. I'm just wondering if there's a time limit on or expiration date on the Jerry Judy jokes. We'll have to wait and see whoever wins the Super Bowl first.
Well, if he plays us every week,
oh my goodness,
I will just blow away. Jerry Rice's Jerry Rice's
records. Yeah. No, I don't think let's
on one game basically.
I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Do you really think when the Broncos play the Browns again or whatever team Jerry Judy's on by then, do you really think the Broncos with Sean Payton in charge is really going to allow that kind of performance to happen again? I mean, I can't imagine a scenario when it's like a complete repeat. Like, I think that was Jerry Jeudy was on his game. He was playing the best he could. He was trying to, get back at us and make a name for himself. I don't think that's a repeatable thing. That was such an outlier. You know what I mean?
I like JJ, and I did wish it would have worked out. But the fact that he balled out against us, that's the kind of potential we were waiting for.
Yeah, I was like, why didn't you do that when we wouldn't have traded you if you had done that with the Broncos?
and why won't it happen again? Levi Wallace was cut that Wednesday. He was backup cornerback, starter, unemployed, all in the matter of 6 days. So yeah, Sean Payton does not suffer ineptitude of that magnitude. So I'm glad JJ got his Madden game, and I'm glad he got to feel 2 feet taller playing against us. But whatever.
Brad's asking to get blocked. I'm not going to block him. I'm not going to. But you're asking for it.
It's okay.
Let's get back over to here with Steven. Welcome to the show, buddy. He says trade up to get Warren, then draft Judkins, Johnson, or another top 4 running back. Use Warren like New Orleans used their guy. So this is a situation where, like, if you do trade up and you lose your pick at number 20, you lose your second round pick this year. If you're not picking into the 3rd round, there's still going to be running backs available.
Yeah. There's a lot of them out in this draft.
I think that just reemphasizes the point of, like, you can get a solid guy later on, moving the farm to pick up Genty. It doesn't seem like it's the most long-term planning when you consider that. I mean, he is good, don't get me wrong, but special. We're talking special.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think for Genty, you're going to have to move up to number 3, number 4. Like, if you're looking at moving up for Warren, you're not going to have to move up nearly that much. Honestly, I'm not sure what other teams need tight ends and are looking at that, but I'm guessing maybe 7 to 8, which is still top 10. It's going to be costly, but not impossible.
Well, I think it's a matter of, do you love who you're moving up for? I mean, really love them. Yeah. If you love them, do it. If not, you know what? you just play the cards you're handed. And if it looks like crap, you fold it and maybe save some money and move back a little bit and get somebody else.
Yeah. There's that too. The Broncos Peyton and Peyton have said that they think most of the value this year is in the 2nd and 3rd round.
So
that would signal to me, again, if they're not, playing 4D chest and throwing mud in the water, that would signal to me that number 20 is up for the right price.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it says to me. I think Sean Payton is playing mind games right now with just about everybody. I think they're planning. I think they got contingency plans and plans for what they want to do, and I don't think it's anything that we think of right now. So
right.
Well, he was right when he said he knows how to pick quarterbacks better than anybody else, and that was a bold statement. Basically, we do it better than everybody else, meaning him. That was a big statement, and that could have blown up in his face. As long as he doesn't get too crazy on the lattes.
That's fair. I like it. Brad says if we block him, he'll fly to America and find us. I'll get a beer on ice for you, man, so that when you show up, we can crack open a cold one and hang out a bit, man. Let's see, Michael here. Well, first off, Keith says hopefully the Raiders don't get him, as in Genty. I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's probably a good bet from what I'm hearing that Genty will go to the Raiders.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm hearing.
You now have Old Man Pete there, and Old Man Pete likes him some running backs, and if anything, Genty kind of reminds me a little bit of Marshawn Lynch, a little bit. Not as far as like the broken tackles, as far as running style and having that versatility to catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit.
Yeah,
that was a little bit, and he would be a good fit for Vegas. And that's only nice. That's the only nice thing you're gonna hear me say about them today. So.
Well, yeah, there's not much really else to say that's nice about him. But look, I mean, Pete Carroll, the only time he was honestly relevant in the NFL was when he had beast mode. And if you're not thinking he's looking at Ashton Genty going like licking his chops, going, ooh, right? He doesn't have a Russell Wilson type of quarterback, but could he make a lot of noise with Ashton Genty if he works out? Sure, maybe. But you gotta also remember it's the Raiders, and the Raiders will find a way to screw him up. So. Yes. It's the Raiders. But look, I want to bring up Michael's comment here. Based on past results, I think the Broncos' brain trust will absolutely make the decisions necessary to make the team better. How just good of a comment is that? Like, to be able to say that and for all of us to be like, yeah, agreed. Like, whoever they pick, whatever decision they make, I trust these guys. It's not 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 when we know, like, we don't want to admit it, but we know that these draft classes are not working out year in and year out. Now we're seeing a very different story. And it's not just for the first round. It's second round, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or no, we don't have a fourth. I can't remember. But I know we have like 2 fifths and a couple sixths, right? They're finding good players. They're finding good, solid depth players. And that's one of the things the Broncos need is not just positional group, but just depth in general.
Depth. Yes.
Which would be huge for the team to build on.
I really feel like this draft coming up in a few days is going to be more of a draft focused on building depth versus finding like impact starters somewhere. And just to your point, Kev, Dan, I mean, Riley Moss is the 3rd round pick. Jonathan Cooper is a 7th round pick. Some of these guys aren't Miners is the 3rd round pick. They're finding value with these guys later on. So it's not like you can still find guys later on. That is the crux of the issue. So
yes.
Kev Dan is down. He is muted. I have to carry the show. Oh my goodness.
You got this. It was a test. It was a test to see how you would respond. And you didn't really fail, but you didn't really pass. We'll talk about it. I'm just kidding.
You know what you got? F+.
You recognized the situation. And so that was good. And you jumped on it. So I give you a C+.
All right.
Let's see. Gary says a good fit for Vegas, kind of like a face for radio. That would put, comparing Ashton Genty to going to Vegas is the same way. Let's talk about something that I think could impact how we approach later rounds in the draft. Not necessarily the first, but I kind of want to get your thoughts on this before we close out the show. One thing that nobody's really talking about that has me a little concerned, and we did okay without him last year, but when we lost Singleton, I was scared, because he was the leading tackler on the team week in and week out. I'm like, if we lose that caliber consistency of player, that's going to have a major impact on how we do. And what we found was that wasn't the case, right? They actually rebounded very nicely off of that. But with everything we're hearing of the injury has healed well, he's on track to return to the team. Do we trust that he's going to be able to perform to the same level? And if we don't 100% trust that, do we look at drafting a linebacker earlier on in the draft as a depth player, but somebody to maybe throw up there should Alex Singleton not be back to 100%? What do you think, Scott?
Well, yeah, I think you got to be concerned because our solution is the guy from the 49ers, who's also, if that guy is right, or even 90, 85% right, he's better than anything we've had in years.
Right.
But there's always that, what happens if he goes down again? And I love Singleton. I just like the way he goes about his business. He just makes plays. He's a team guy, but he's not a star. I never be a star, but he's that solid guy. So I would have no problems finding, having them draft us an inside linebacker, somebody that can step in there and play that position consistently. So it wouldn't bother me if we did that. So I thought I was kind of looking at linebacker maybe in the third or later rounds. But yeah, I think we need to look at that. But I've thought that for 8 years, and we've never addressed it. It's the first year we actually addressed it with somebody that I think might help.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Adam, what do you think, buddy?
Kind of along the same lines. Inside linebacker has been kind of a bugaboo for us for a while now. Yeah, I mean, Drew Sanders has been a very very weird case of I think where he is so athletic that they are trying to find a spot for him and just like where does that athleticism line up best with. But even to your point, Kev, Dan, you had a guy that you highlighted earlier this week, a linebacker from Georgia, where I think could make a ton of sense at 20. There's a kid from UCLA that I think could make a lot of sense at 20. Because not only, I mean, yes, we have Dre Greenlaw now. Dre Greenlaw's got his own injury concerns. So to have two guys who were fine, but also do have some injury concerns. Your only backup is Justin Sternad. And I know there are a lot of people who like Justin Sternad.
He really did look good the first couple games.
You get trucked by Case Keenum in a game, and I'm sorry, I can't
forgive that.
I can't unsee that. I will never unsee that. Justin Sternad, probably a nice guy, probably a great neighbor. I can't
do that. Yeah.
Can't do it.
That's fair.
Anyway. So I think if there is a position that we're not really giving a whole lot of lip service to, because, and like Spotty's saying, it's not a great draft for interior linebacker types. So this actually could be where if they do take a flyer on a guy there, that may actually be a high leverage pick that they need that pick to turn out, because like I said, it's been hen's teeth trying to find capable inside linebackers as of late.
Yeah. Well, Spotty kind of chimes in here with some good points here. It's not a great draft for the off-ball linebackers. Totally understand there. You got to keep in mind, this is something I honestly keep forgetting. Drew Sanders was moved back to inside linebacker, natural position. So hopefully we'll see a lot of Drew Sanders this year and see him playing him well for sure. I know there's a lot of talk of Scattaboo. But Scott there, what do you think about Scatabo? A Scatabo package. I think that's
I just like the guy. But I was a big Peyton Hillis fan too. I just liked how he went about his business. I really did. And I think he kind of got a little shortchanged. He had a hell of a year after we got rid of him. Maybe a couple years, and then
had one. One really great year in Cleveland.
He's almost drowning, saving a kid. I don't know, but I just like that kind of player. Somebody who is just, I mean, of course, I was probably, what was the guy from Nebraska, the fullback. I like your everyman players. Yeah, yeah. But I think that I'd love for Drew Sanders to be what they keep telling us Drew Sanders is going to be.
Right. Yeah, but it's true.
It seems like he's always on the sideline. Although he came back his first game and he looked like what they told me. But what's going to happen? I hope he can come back and just is a animal.
Yeah,
because that's what they said he was going to be, an animal.
Yep.
He's
sense.
uber athletic. If you tell him to run and chase something, you see where the athleticism comes out. Asking him to do assignments and it's okay. It's okay. And that's why I kind of thought this is the second time they moved him, because they drafted him as an inside guy and then moved him outside, and then they're moving him back inside. Now that's probably a numbers thing at this point. But again, it is, and I think that's hurting his development. If you need this guy to play a position, he needs to play a position.
Stick with one.
So you need to find a position for him to play and pick up the nuances on that.
Agreed, guys. Well, hey, look, fact of the matter is we're 2 days away from the draft, and the Tennessee Titans are on the clock. So get ready for it, guys. It's going to be a great night. Before we go over to closing comments, so hold on. We got a couple more things left to say. Remember, guys, Thursday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, we will be live as soon as the draft starts, going through all the draft picks through the Broncos' first pick of the draft, including giving away some of these fantastic draft caps of your choice. So make sure you tune in to hear how you can win possibly a draft cap. So it's going to be a great night. We'll see what the Broncos do, and it'll just be some good, fun football offseason time for us to connect and hang out. So expecting it to be a long show, but we'll make it through, and it'll be a fun time. But let's do some closing thoughts here. Yeah, get stretched out because you're going to need it. Scott, let's start with you, man. Some closing thoughts as we get ready for the draft.
I always look at the draft as it just starts feeling like football season.
Yeah.
And it kind of gets me all just
warm and fuzzy,
giddy and happy. And I start thinking, holy crap, it's almost here. And then, you can start imagining what this team's going to look like. Yeah. And, as an old guy, you don't have a lot in life. So you got to imagine and embrace the possibilities. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the Broncos to continue to grow and develop. I'm excited to see what our guys from the last couple years are going to do. And, I love the draft. I love, again, the optimistic nature of it. Because everybody thinks they've drafted their Hall of Fame player. Everybody thinks they've drafted the missing piece that is going to put them one step closer to that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it, man. Every year, I think we got the greatest draft. I used to get really pissed off when I'd look at the grades we'd gotten. What do you mean we're a D?
What? How could you say that? There's no way.
Well, there. I was the
you were right.
But I'm excited. I love this time of year, and I'm ready to get it.
Yeah, buddy. I love it. I love it.
Adam,
what do you think, buddy? Oh, there you go.
To kind of piggyback on that, I always say that, as a PSA, don't get upset when you love a guy, but your team doesn't love the same guy. I was on the table this time last season, pounding my fist on the table for Michael Penix Jr. He was the consensus best quarterback in my opinion.
Yeah,
he made total sense. And then Bo Chapman-Nix entered my life, and it's never been the same since. So that's also where, don't get mad if they don't take the guy that you want. Sometimes it works out for the best. It won't be the first time I'm wrong, and it'll be the last time I'm wrong. I don't think I'm going to be wrong anymore after this point.
No, I'm done being wrong. I'm done with that.
No. I've decided it's inconvenient for me, and I've decided to do
your wife on really quickly. See how she feels about this.
She's unavailable. She's unavailable right now.
Cool stuff. Now, Adam, thank you very much, buddy. Look, guys, lots of talk, lots of rumors. We don't know what the Broncos are going to do. Honestly, I don't think the Broncos know what they're going to do. They're going to wait. They're going to be patient. They're going to see how the board develops, and when it gets to them, make that decision. You know, they're going to see if it's worth trading up based off how things are going. Whoever they think their guy is, if there's a chance they can get them for a decent price, then they're going to do it. But we're going to be here breaking it all down. So you're going to want to be here. And yes, I will bribe you with draft caps. Nobody else is giving away prizes during their draft party. I guarantee it. So I am bribing you, and you had better be here. But seriously, guys, thank you for all your support. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you this Thursday, draft night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We will be live. It's going to be fantastic. So thank you very much to Adam and Scott here for helping me out. Once again, as always, you guys are fantastic co-hosts. Love having you on. But guys, I got nothing left to say other than end this as we always do on a very strong Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Let's go.
Take care, guys. We will see you next time.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a